Champions League Playoff Picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code PLGP to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions. Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Monday, February the 17th. We are here to look back at the Premier League weekend before we get stuck into the Champions League playoff second leg games, which take place Tuesday, Wednesday. There is a Premier League game, which I only noticed at about 7 o'clock tonight. Aston Villa take on Liverpool on Wednesday. So we'll get stuck into that one as well. Joining me, supposing he's under the weather again, like he always is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Barry, how are you doing, sweetheart? What's the matter with you?
I'm all right. I'm still just nursing this cold. As you know, I was getting the beginnings of a cold last Thursday when we were last on here. I gradually got worse. Saturday was bad. Sunday was... And I'm feeling a little bit better today. I'm perking up a little. But I'm still coughing, sneezing, snotting everywhere. So getting a little bit fed up with it, given that it was only 2 weeks ago that I was laid up with the last virus. So it's getting a little bit boring now, to be honest.
Yeah, it is boring, you're right. Run it off, Baz, would be my advice. Callum was complaining he's got an ear infection. So we'll have to see how that's going. Fairly busy weekend, Baz. Yeah, I went Irish dancing on Friday night, which turns out I'm mint at, by the way. Something else you can add to the list. Things that I'm mint at: Irish dancing. And last night I was at St Andrews, the posh Scottish university, not the home of Birmingham City, for a big kind of party type thing. Right up on the coastline, we went and had a little look at the golf course and all that. But it was the posh kids. It was the university posh kids. And you know they're my favourites, Baz. I adore the posh kids. I'm just endlessly fascinated with them. They're just the enthusiasm and sense of a Labrador puppy, all of them. They're just all daft, but quite harmless. So, yeah, the sort of kids my kids will be working for in 10 years' time. That's who they were last night. So I enjoyed that. Drove home, got back at 3 a.m, so a little bit sleepy today, but you know me, Baz. And I wanted to mention, we talked last week about the lack of female listeners. We were going to try and heighten the female interest in the show, Barry. Courtney got in touch and asked, she is very much the pioneer of the female listeners for the Premier League Gambling Podcast. But, Barry, in a remarkable turn of events, just this very evening, we got a Twitter like of Carly Johnson. Now, if you don't know who Carly Johnson is, I don't know what to tell you. Go and have a look. But we got a Twitter like, so, I mean, that's rocketed us, Barry. Rocketed us up the female interest charts there. So why she liked that tweet, I have no idea. But there you go. You, Barry, will have a very full Tory Scran update that I believe you need to tell us about.
Yeah, I went out for a 20-course tasting menu on Friday night. Fortunately, the cold wasn't sufficient enough to ruin it, given that the 72-hour cancellation window was definitely gone, and that it cost us quite a bit of money. Good night, really good night. Lovely venue. It was inside like an old converted barn, and they were cooking like over live fire and all of that sort of stuff. So it was a good environment, and I had all sorts. It was very gamey. It's very much focused on stuff that's local and what they can get that's in season and all that. So I had a bit of partridge, woodcock, deer, duck, like charcuterie, lamb's heart. Never had a lamb's heart before, but that was nice. But everything had been like smoked and cured and sort of cooked over the coals. So like this lamb heart was almost like a beef jerky texture. It was like dead smoky and chewy, but it was also like sitting underneath this onion custard. It was an absolute delight. So there was quite a few things to like about it. A very good night was had, and I spent a lot of money on that night. The only bonus, I probably saved myself about 100 quid because I wasn't feeling great. I didn't fancy a drink, so I drove. Helen drank, and I probably saved about 100 quid by me not drinking, to be honest, because it certainly wasn't cheap. Like
Tony Woodcock, bringing it back to football there, Barry, always. I've got Love Island All-Stars final on, so I'll keep you updated as to who gets over the line there. I don't know the names of any of the finalists, but Blondie v Brunette, so let's see how that works out. There's loads of people in the chat. We had Joe Dollar. Fucking Joe Dollar loves Everton. He was first in needling us before I've even joined Joe Dollar. You're going to have to get off the Arsenal train and commit full time to Everton, Joe. There's only one thing for it. Callum, what an Everton chat here. We'll get to Everton in a bit, Michael. Shut up. Ian, he's here. Cree, Slick Rick, who's not joined us live for a while. Jason has joined us as well. I think that's everyone for the minute. If you are lurking about, by all means, say hello. We're eagerly anticipating the arrival of Bedirium from Uzbekistan to check out what's going on over there, make sure everything's all right. Picks-wise, topsy-turvy weekend, Baz. I only had 4 out of 10, but I did make it back to 9.8 units. So I blew 0.2 of a unit, which is fine. What got me was I started really well. Brighton on Friday night, 2-1, the same as the previous Friday night. We loved it. And then I had Arsenal under 2.5 at lunchtime. So I was 2 out of 2, 5.5 units. I thought, here we go. And then Saturday afternoon, just the wheels flew off at high speed, where simultaneously was watching Newcastle get their teeth kicked in and watching all my bets lose. It was just a horrible, horrible, horrible afternoon. Made it back with Tottenham. Tottenham at a good price yesterday. So it got me back to 9.8. My lock one, which was Bournemouth in the over 2.5. Ake was let down by Villa. No idea how they didn't win. And I've no idea how Semenyo didn't score. I watched the highlights, and every 30 seconds he was having a shot from 4 yards. It didn't go in. So that was remarkable how that happened. So I made it back to a safe space, Barry. But I think you did all right, didn't you, son?
I had a very good start. I think at one point Newcastle was the only loser from the first 7 games for me. Again, start with Brighton. I took them as a team total rather than outright, so didn't get quite the price you got. Arsenal handicap. I mean, between us, we absolutely nailed that, didn't we? I had the Arsenal minus 1.5. You had the under 2.5 goals, and the only thing that could work for us both was the 2-0. I had overs in the Forest game. I got a bet right on Forest. I got a fucking bet right on Forest this week. Both teams to score at Ipswich Villa. Bournemouth score both halves. Brentford shots hit. We both got into Spurs against Man United. The ones that I left behind was Newcastle. No arguments there. We were absolutely garbage. Palace. I mean, Palace done enough in the first half to have been ahead. I mean, they scored a goal. That was perfectly fine, but they ruled it out, said it went out of bounds. And then couldn't find anything to go the other way. And then Liverpool, I mean, I took Liverpool in the handicap, 2-0 up. Salah stood on the penalty spot waiting to go 3-0 up, and then they overturned that one. So for a little while, I was thinking, here we go, I'll get this. And then that all unravelled because Liverpool didn't bother turning up in the second half. So I finished on 7 out of 10. I hit my lock. Arsenal handicap was the lock. And I hit my scorer. Mateta was the scorer for me for Palace as well. So, yeah, good weekend to pick for me all around. Best in a while on the Premier League stuff.
Good. Well done, Barry. We get to the eye catchers. You've just mentioned a few of mine. I just sort of, my eye catchers were the bets where I went wrong, really. So we'll get to them. Let me tell you first about what we got. For free daily picks for college basketball, NBA, college baseball, NHL. I know the March Madness is coming up, and Noah has been all over the start of the college baseball stuff. So download the SGPN app for all of that. Edge Boost has partnered with SGPN. It is the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at any of your favourite gambling halls. You can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards. It's FDIC insured. And it's completely free. There's no credit checks. Sign up today. Use the promo code SGPN. That's edgeboost.bet. Promo code SGPN. MyBookie, available to bet on every sport. You've got the live dealer casino, loads of props, customers from all kinds of locations, fast payouts using crypto. Head to mybookie.ag with the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. Mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Yeah, you covered a few of my eye catchers, and like I say, they're mainly rooted in my poor bets. So it was the money line bets that got turned over for me. West Ham, I sat here and said quite boldly that they would have a strong end to the season, and I thought we could make some money on them. And I might have to revisit that because they were shite. So maybe I'll maintain a watching brief on West Ham over the last couple of weeks. Everton, so we've talked about Everton, Joe and Michael needling us. They were shite again, and they won again. Both things can be true. I'm not disputing any of that. There was very much the sliding doors moment in that game where the Palace player has to score. Is it Sarr, maybe? Has to score from 4 yards, hits the underside of the bar. Then the other bloke's not looking when they take a throw in, and Everton go 1-0 up. They think, how's that happened? That was one of those things. Liverpool, it's not corrupt this week, Barry, against Liverpool. Just establishing. That was last week. Last week it was corrupt against Liverpool. This week we're all fine. They were very much allowed to dive and cheat their way to victory against Wolves. So well done there. In Newcastle, Jesus. But back to the bad old days, Baz. We had this in October and November, didn't we? Where they just, within 5 minutes, you knew they weren't turning up. The variance in Newcastle performances is the widest of any team in the Premier League. Like, if at least Man United have the common sense, the good grace to be permanently shite. Like, we're like Brazil one week and then dog shit the next. Unless they sort that out, it could be a long month between now and the League Cup final. We've got Liverpool and Forest in our next couple of games. So it could be a little bit of a mess. And Man United, lol, I wrote down at the end just because we like to finish on a positive note. Do you want to mention anything else from the weekend, Baz?
I mean, Newcastle, I don't really, in hindsight, how did we get dragged into back in Newcastle in that? Because our record at the Etihad is absolutely shocking, isn't it? We've never won there, ever. Like, I think we've picked up about 2 points in the whole time. So, yeah, we're definitely guilty of getting lured into that one. So, yeah, Newcastle was one. You mentioned the Liverpool. It's interesting. There seems to be like new rules this last few weeks for Liverpool where they're allowed to substitute a player instead of taking the second yellow card. It seems to happen.
We sometimes do that with the under-12s, Baz.
Yeah,
if someone
seems to be something they're trying out with Liverpool in the last few weeks. Nice gesture from the officials. As you say, it's someone we usually see it like under-9s football. Someone's been a little bit naughty. You just say it to the manager, just take him off. So they've done it this week with Konate, and then last week it was Bradley, and the week before that it was McAllister. And it just, nice little touch for Liverpool that they can just get that opportunity to just make the change and not take the punishment. That's all right. There was 3 teams who won, but I felt left quite a few questions because Liverpool weren't very good, and obviously they didn't get the result against Everton. They were hanging on at times, or certainly didn't look good enough in the second half against a poor Wolves side. Arsenal, I mean, on paper they've gone and won 2-0, but I thought they really struggled at times. And Leicester in the first half had enough chances. So I think Arsenal leaves a lot of questions out there. Sterling's definitely not the answer to their problems. And let's not get too carried away. Mourinho is not going to be a long-term answer to the problem either. So I do think Arsenal still question marks in coming weeks for them because they are going to struggle to create chances against better teams. Leicester are garbage, let's remember. And the other one was Spurs. Spurs win. But how many chances did they give up against that absolutely terrible Man United side? Anybody else would have put 3 or 4 past Spurs on the day. So yeah, those were 3 that sort of stood out to me. It's like, fair enough, you've won, but I think there's still some question marks. You said, lol, at Man United, just how many chances can they? I mean, Højlund, Xerxes, Garnacho. I called out Garnacho a year ago. I told you he would not be what they thought he was going to be. He's not the absolute superstar. I know he's still young. Man, that miss was ridiculous because he had all the time in the world. It wasn't something that he had to rush and make a decision. It was absolutely awful, which I enjoyed. Also, quite amusing seeing Anthony go to Spain and score 3 in 3 games for Real Betis. Man United fans must be absolutely seething watching that.
Well, I was going to point that out. I think that's what makes your slagging off a Garnacho difficult, because anywhere else, he might be outstanding. He probably will be outstanding, as Anthony's kind of proven. We had this a little bit under Steve Bruce, where I refused to blame any of the players. If the players couldn't lift their legs up, I had nothing against them, because it was the manager and the situation, and that's what's happened at Man United. And long may it continue. While we're talking about the Prem, then, should we do this game first, Baz, on Wednesday night? We'll do the Prem game.
Yeah, we might as well jump into that one, yeah. I've got quite a short handicap, really.
I'm guessing these two are playing each other because of their upcoming Champions League commitments, unless there's another reason. Am I right, Baz?
It's because of the League Cup final. Liverpool can't play that weekend, so their game's been brought forward. Newcastle game's been moved into a different week, but that's the reason for it. They've preempted their blank weekend for Liverpool due to the EFL Cup.
Okay, fair enough. So this is Wednesday at 7:30, 2:30 Eastern Time. Aston Villa taking on Liverpool. Villa 29-10 plus 290. The draw 31-10 plus 310. And Liverpool 5-6 minus 183. Villa, we haven't mentioned them here actually, but they huffed and puffed at the weekend. They cost me my accumulator. Ipswich down to 10 men from the 42nd minute. And Villa just couldn't get it done. Ipswich scored first. Villa huffed and puffed. And what caught my eye here was Villa's form against the top teams, Baz. The top 7 teams, they've played 8 games. They've only got 1 win, and there's 5 defeats in there. So when they've come up against a decent team, they've struggled. A few of their shiny new toys did bits. Rashford ran around a bit. I haven't seen him do that for 2 years. Some good skills. He made a good chance, a nice little run near the end where the keeper made a mad save. Asensio showed some touches, but still wasn't enough to beat 10-man Ipswich. So I only saw the highlights. So in isolation, they've clearly not done enough to go and win that game. And at that record against the good teams is a concern. Liverpool won again. You're right, they weren't very good. Wolves gave them a good game, which is fair enough. That's their job. That late Everton goal aside, that prevented Liverpool's winning streak being 5 in a row. Away from home, 1-9, drawn 4, lost none. I think Liverpool can get it done again. They're just finding ways of getting it done. And like I say, I don't like Villa's record. So this is a really simple play, Baz. Liverpool on the money line. You don't often see Liverpool at 5-6. They're a decent price. Minus 120. I'll take Liverpool to win.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting one, this, because as I've mentioned, I don't think Liverpool are exactly looking outstanding at the moment. But they're doing what they need, mostly. They're getting, the wins, I would say, but obviously they didn't against Everton, but doing enough to keep the distance from Arsenal. They were poor in the second half yesterday. Wolves could have easily nicked it in the same way Everton did. But then you look at Villa, and Villa just aren't a team you can trust at the moment. There's a few teams at the moment that I don't want to trust, but Villa definitely one of them. They've not won in 4 straight league games now. Lost to Wolves. Failed to beat 10-man Ipswich in the last 2 games there. So really hard, therefore, to make a case for Villa doing anything against Liverpool. You've mentioned the form against decent teams for Villa. That doesn't bode well for them. And as I say, Liverpool are finding a way, and they'll find a way again, yeah. They'll probably get another penalty. That was astonishing. I seen Salah scored his 50th penalty for Liverpool. I'm not sure Newcastle United have had 50 penalties in the whole time I've lived. But 50 penalties is a lot, isn't it, for one player?
And it is.
Seven
Newcastle did
this
spend
season as
4
well.
years inside their own penalty area.
That's. I mean, I don't think there's anything dodgy about it, as you say. More attacking teams will get more penalties. I actually looked at the price for a penalty to be scored in this game because Salah's scored 7 already this season, so he's scoring in 1 in every 3.5 games. He's scoring a penalty. You can still get 5-1 for Liverpool to score a penalty, so not a bad shout. Liverpool finding a way. They'll find a way again here, and I think they're a decent enough price, as you said. Liverpool to beat Villa at 5-6 will be my pick.
Okay, so team ride on Liverpool. Not going to win any awards for originality, but when they've won 3-1 on Wednesday night, that'll do us. Okay, Champions League. Tuesday, same drill as last week. Tuesday and Wednesday, 4 games each. There is one early game on each slate. Bit of a rarity, this one, in that it's 2 legs, so we get a handicap the second leg of games. So we've got the qualification option to bet on possibly, and games in various states of equilibrium. Really, you've got some that are well balanced, and you've got other games that are dead rubber. So interesting angles from betting point of view all over the shop here. We kick off on the early game on Tuesday. It's a 5:45 kickoff, which is 12:45 Eastern time, between AC Milan and Feyenoord. AC Milan are 3-10, minus 333. The draw 5-1. Feyenoord are 8-1. That's 90 minutes on the night. To qualify, Milan are 1-2, minus 200, and Feyenoord 6-4, plus 150. Feyenoord lead 1-0 from the first leg. Scored a goal in the 3rd minute, and then hung on for the rest of the games. Milan won 3 of 4 home games, but the wins against Girona and Red Star were 2 of the weakest opposition that were in this big mega Champions League game. Both of those wins were by 1 goal at home. Feyenoord's win in this first leg was just one of several good results they've had in this competition. They've only lost once away. They got a 3-1 win at Benfica. They got a 3-3 draw at Manchester City. And I think of all the angles in, the one that gives us the most options here, Baz, is Feyenoord to qualify. They could win, they could draw, they could lose by 1 and go through on penalties. Like I say, Milan haven't been blowing teams away. In various little bits of Feyenoord's form is okay. It's decent. So with a 1-goal lead, 6-4 plus 150, I think looks like a fair price to me. So I'm happy to punt Feyenoord here to advance from the tie. It's 6-4 plus 150.
Yeah, I don't mind that because it sort of factors into my pick a little bit. In that I think Feyenoord will at least get a goal, which leaves Milan with a bit of a way to go if that's the case. Milan, obviously, as you mentioned, looking to overturn a 1-0 deficit. Good thing about these fixtures, you mentioned different states in each of them, but 6 of the 8 games are separated by just a single goal. So plenty to play for across the 2 days. A couple of games which look dead, but beyond that, everything else is still wide open. So Milan looking to overturn a 1-0 deficit. I went for goals in this one last week and was nowhere near. And I went for goals because of the Feyenoord form. They've been one of the highest scoring teams, but also absolutely shipping them at the other end as well in the Champions League. But I don't mind going down the same route again. The 1-0 last week was the first game in this competition that hasn't gone over 2.5 goals for Feyenoord. So 8 in a row they'd gone over 2.5. And with AC Milan now needing to be on the front foot, this one might be a little bit more open. The other thing I picked up on is AC Milan's defensive record in this hasn't been great. They've got only 1 clean sheet in 9 games in the Champions League this season. Feyenoord are averaging over 2 goals per game. So I like them to get on the score sheet, and I can get a decent price here for the both teams to score. Fancy both teams to make a bit of a fist of it. I'm going to take the both teams to score here between Milan and Feyenoord at 19-20.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all, Baz. That is the angle we went with last week. And with the 3rd-minute goal, you were sort of rubbing your hands, and it never quite happened. Slick Rick wants Milan with Atalanta. We're coming to our next game. in a little Italian money line double at +112. The Subhuman Gauchos joined us. Welcome along all the way from Argentina, I'm guessing. The Gauchos, so welcome there. Second game, the 8 o'clock kickoffs here, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, opens with Atalanta at Club Bruges. Atalanta 1-2, -200. The draw is 7-2 +350. Bruges are 5-1, +500. To qualify, 7-10. Atalanta -142, 21-20, +105 for Bruges. Bruges have a 2-1 lead going into this one, courtesy of one of the most scandalous penalty decisions I have ever seen. This was probably the most low-key game on the slate, so I don't think this got mentioned much. It was an absolute outrageous penalty decision. Do you know the one I'm talking about, Baz?
No.
Have you seen it?
No.
Fucking hell. Injury time. I'm not talking it to you. Go and look it up. It's shocking. But anyway, Bruges lead 2-1. Baz, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, good result for Bruges last week against Atlanta. We'd taken Atlanta away from home and failed with that. Atlanta still favourites to qualify, but I think there's a chance here for Bruges. Atlanta's form at the minute isn't startling. They've got just 1 win from 4 in their Champions League home games. I think Sturm Graz, was the only team they've beaten in this competition at home. They did face Arsenal and Real Madrid, so they've had a hard run of home games. But a good comparison might be the 0-0 home draw with Celtic, which obviously isn't great and could be a good comparison for this against Bruges. And the more recent form isn't great either. Just 1 win in the last 6 in all competitions. And if you filter it down again just to their home games, just 1 win in the last 6 home games in all competitions. Bruges have already got some decent wins in this competition. They've beaten Villa, they've beaten Sporting, they had a draw with Juventus also. Most of them all came at home. The away form did see them lose 2 of their 4, lost to Man City and Milan. But I think Bruges have got something to hold on to here. And Atlanta aren't in great form at the moment. I think Bruges can hold on to it and qualify from this, whether that's via nicking a draw or, as you say, we can lose by 1 and go through into penalties or extra time. But I'm going to take Bruges to qualify as a slight underdog, 21-20.
I'm absolutely, completely at the other end, Barry. Totally opposite end of the spectrum. I've written down one lock for this show, and it's Atlanta to qualify at 7-10. Totally the other end. Bruges have only got 1 away win in the 4 games. That was at Sturm Graz, who were terrible. They lost comparison games you want to talk about them. 3-0 in Dortmund, 3-1 in Milan, 3-1 against Manchester City. Atalanta won 4 games in this competition. They covered the handicap all 4 times. They drew with Arsenal, they drew with Barcelona. They really should have beaten Barcelona. I much prefer them. You comparing Atalanta to Celtic is absolutely terrible, by the way.
I said Atalanta drew with Celtic. I'm saying Celtic and Bruges as a comparison.
Ooh,
if you can't beat Celtic at home, then Bruges have got a chance of getting a draw at Atlanta if Celtic can. That was my point.
That was a long time ago. The 7-10 for them to qualify is a great price. But I fancy them that strongly. I'm going to take them to get it done in 90 minutes. And that means covering the handicap. So I'll take Atalanta -1.5 goals at 11-8 +138. No help to anyone. Underdog Pick'em is here. NBA, NHL, college basketball. Whatever your sport, you can cash in big with Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Our promo code is PLGP to claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code PLGP, and our proud partner Rhythm, the number one AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models, or have Rhythm build you a model. College basketball, NBA, and golf. Rhythm's got it all. The thing to do here is claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Barry, we move on to the big event of the evening, the battleships. this is taking a right turn here, Barry. That hit I got in the last game has put me short odds on. And I'm going to let you have your guess. And then I'm going to explain why I'm the hot favourite now. But it's your go.
I'm going to go for A6.
A6, Barry, is a miss. There you go. Put that back. So, the situation we've got here, Barry, why you're in a world of shit here. I've already killed your aircraft carrier, and 3 other of your fleet are alight, aren't they? Bang in trouble. People jettison themselves over the edge. So all I need to do now is, Barry, I'll finish off these 3 that are alight. That will then tell me which one of yours I've got left. And then, because of the available squares, I'll then know what size, and I can work out scientifically where I need to go. So you're on a lot of shit, Barry. If you followed that, I don't know if you followed the protocol there, Barry. So what I'm going to go for here is E7.
That's a hit.
Yeah, well, that's a hit, all right. Don't worry about that. We'll go for E9.
And that's a sink.
That's a sink, right? Okay. That's 5 and 3 gone. Here we go. This is the episode everyone's been waiting for, Baz. 5 and 4, 4, 3. Right, it's got to be up there. It's got to be F1.
F1's a hit.
This is what the kids hate when they're playing me, Baz. They can't stand it. It sends them over the top.
I'm not concerned. I can see
you should be concerned.
I can see massive trouble ahead for you. Where are you going here?
E1.
It's a hit and a sink.
That's a sink as well.
Yeah.
So we've got the 2 and the 4. That one's a blaze. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. Right. I might miss this, but I think you've probably gone vertical. G5.
G5's a hit.
F5.
Hit.
Oh my God, world of shit for Barry. I5. Hit and sink.
Yeah, that's sunk.
Right, okay. So I've got your cruiser left 2. Now, that's not really ideal. That's the best news you've had so far tonight, Barry.
Yeah, that's it. We're level pegging now, aren't we? We've got 1 each to take out. And you've got to find
psychologically, I'm all over you, though, Barry.
Yeah.
No, I don't know me when yes is the answer. I'm going to go for... Oh, right. You've got to be somewhere... If I have to start A1...
That's a miss.
Right, that's fine. Okay, beautiful. And all of a sudden, Barry, how the turntables have turned. Pete's picks turned up just in time for the dramatic episode of Battleship. 8 o'clock on Wednesday, Bayern Munich take on Celtic. Munich are 4-25, minus 625. The draw 17-2 plus 850. Celtic are 12-1. To qualify, Bayern 1-100. That's minus 10,000. Celtic are 20-1 to make it through. 2-1 Bayern from the first leg. Celtic got a late goal, which just kept them sort of alive. As the odds suggest, Bayern are heavy favourites. But my angle here is how Bayern approach this. Bayern drew 0-0 at the weekend with Leverkusen. And were really negative. They've got an 8-point lead in the league, and they just needed to protect it. And Company went all out defence. It was very negative indeed. And actually, they only just got away with it. Leverkusen hit the crossbar twice, but they did get the 0-0. Bayern fans weren't very happy with it. They've had 3 1-0s in this competition already. Celtic have had 2 0-0s away from home. And the books just assume Bayern are going to twat them. I think everyone last week assumed Bayern were going to twat them. We took the under on the goals. We took the under on the goals in Bayern v Bratislava, if you remember, something I was hot on a few weeks ago. And because everyone assumes Bayern are going to twat them, the under on the goals it's a good price again. We can get a push at 4 goals, Baz. Do you know how many 4 goals is? It's not as many as 5 goals, if we remember how many that was. Under 4 goals, Baz, we get a push at 4, 3 to 4, minus 133. The Bayern just won't. They'll either get one up and just fanny about, or it'll fit. What are you laughing at? Or it'll be 0-0. But that's it, under 4 goals. What are you laughing at?
Just so matter of fact, Bayern will just do this, and well, I think you're wrong.
Right.
4 goals. 4 goals is definitely less than the 7 that Celtic conceded last time they went to Germany. That's what I know.
Right.
Celtic haven't won away yet in this competition. Conceded 7 to Dortmund, conceded 4 to Villa on the road. All the best work for Celtic's been at home. Bayern at home have won 4 out of 4, and it just seems unfeasible they could throw it away or not get a result here for me. Bayern have just won 7 home games in a row, scored 3 minimum in all 7 of those. 4 of the 7 they scored 4 or more themselves. So I couldn't be taking Bayern at home. I couldn't be taking an unders personally. You might win, you might. Who knows? All points to Bayern for me here. Celtic not good enough away from home. Bayern at home, or a different beast. Hard then to land on something because they are a very short price. The handicap, you need to be taking Bayern to win by 3 or more. The team total, you would need Bayern scoring 4 or more. But I think if either of those do hit, I should be okay with where I've ended up. Celtic were competitive last week, but Bayern at home is a different matter. There's only 1 goal in it, so Bayern will still be live. Bayern are still up for it. I'm going to take Bayern to win both halves at evens. You can have a 1-0 both halves, Malcolm.
That's fine. Yeah, it's not a bad show.
But yeah, we can still both win. But yeah, bold play from you. I've gone something different. But yeah, I'll take Bayern to win both halves at even money.
Like I say, having watched Bayern actively play for a 0-0 draw in the league at the weekend, I wouldn't be banking on the same set of players and manager to not go and just defend
away from home, though, wasn't it? That was away from home. The home form's completely different, though.
Right. The last game on Tuesday is Benfica taking on Monaco. Benfica 11-13, minus 117. 3-1 the draw, 11-4, plus 275 Monaco. To qualify, Benfica 1-7, minus 700, 9-2, plus 450 Monaco. Benfica lead 1-0 from the first leg, Barry.
Yeah, I mean, I landed on this one quite quickly, as I did last week. Benfica have beaten Monaco twice already this season, both away from home. Beat them in the group stage, beat them in the first leg here. And I just don't see why they wouldn't do the same again. They've probably been better away from home, Benfica, to be fair, than they have at home. But they did face Barcelona and Milan at home in the group stage, so they had a couple of tough games in there. They still put 4 past Barcelona in a 5-4 defeat when they lost there as well. Highlight for Benfica was a 4-0 win over Atletico at home early in the competition. But Monaco went downhill as the competitions went on. They've lost 4 of the last 5 games in this competition now. I just think Benfica is still a very, very good price. 17-20, Benfica to beat Monaco. That'll be me.
Yeah, I've got a 3-line handicap, Baz, which is exactly the same as yours. We picked Benfica last week at a good price. I thought they were the better team. We were right. There was a red card in that. Monaco had a red card in that game. But you're right. Monaco started this competition really, really well. And I've dropped off a little way. The price is good enough for us to take them again. Dead simple, really. Benfica at 11-13, minus 117. Females of the world unite. Courtney's joined us. Courtney, you don't have to apologise for being late, Courtney. As long as you stay for longer than 11 seconds, you are very welcome. So nice to see you. So that's Tuesday done. Wednesday, the early kickoff is Borussia Dortmund against Sporting Lisbon. Dortmund are 9-10, minus 111. The draw 11-4, plus 275. Sporting 27-10, plus 270. To qualify, Dortmund 1-100, minus 10,000, 25-1. Sporting Lisbon, Dortmund 3-0 up from the first leg. making this a little bit dead as a contest. We took Dortmund. This is similar to the last handicap, Baz. It's another three-liner because we took Dortmund last week at a great price. The fact that they're 3-0 up means I think the books are assuming that Dortmund might just do the bare minimum. But just because Sporting need to win doesn't mean they're capable of it. Because part of last week's handicap was they've absolutely gone to shit. And I don't think that changes at all. Dortmund can just beat them again. I don't know why they wouldn't. It's a fair price, so I'll take Dortmund 9-10, -111, Baz.
Yeah, same. Another way, the price of Dortmund just looks generous, given that they're just beaten Sporting by 3 goals. Obviously, the danger is they don't need to win. But with a full house at home, you've got to fancy Dortmund. They're a bit all over the place, Dortmund, at the moment. The win over Sporting sandwiched between the 2 league defeats recently. But they've been decent at home in this competition. 3 wins and a defeat to Barcelona, 3-2. So they've been in good form at home. Sporting are another team who have just faded as the competitions went on. Just 1 point from the last 4 group games. Then the 3-0 defeat in the first leg here. I think you've got to stick with Dortmund. I'll take Dortmund to win at 10-11.
Nice, Barry. That's 2 in a row. We're on the same page on. There is another dead rubber after this one. The late games on Wednesday, 8 p.m. PSG taking on Brest. PSG 2-11, -555. 13-2, the draw, +650. Brest at 12-1. To qualify, PSG -1,000, 1-100. Brest are 100-1 to make it out the tie, Baz. So, a second consecutive dead rubber. How do you price it up?
I didn't like this one. There's comparisons with 2 here. You can compare it with a Bayern game where Bayern are a similar price to PSG, or you can compare it to Dortmund where Dortmund are also 3-0 up. PSG have not lost a game since November now. They're at home to a team who they've already beaten 3 times this season, and all 3 of them by at least 2 goals. But at 2-11, as I say, they're a similar price to Bayern, but with a lot less jeopardy. Bayern have got a 1-0 lead, 1-goal lead going into it. PSG got it done and dusted in the first leg. As I say, you could draw the comparison with the Dortmund game. Dortmund at home defending a 3-0 lead, just like PSG. But you're getting Dortmund to close to evens. PSG here, 2-11. Completely different matter. Hard to see anything but a PSG win. They've won 10 of the last 11 in all competitions. And I ended up going with exactly the same way I went with the Bayern game. I'm going to take PSG to win both halves at 6-5. But it's probably my least favourite pick on this card. I'm not a big fan of it. But I found it really difficult. PSG just seem to have Brest's number, though.
It's funny that we've looked at those 2 games, Baz, and made the same pick on both, because I've taken the under 3.5 goals this time. This game could just be an absolute non-starter. PSG can just hold them at arm's length, and that'll be it. Brest will allow them to do that. As long as Brest don't get funky with them, PSG will just allow them to not get battered. So under 3.5 goals, 9-10, -111. Pete's pick for tomorrow is in the 410 Liari, Liari, in the 410 tomorrow, around about 9-4, +225. Pete's been in good form, so get involved. Ian wants PSG -2. Joe wants PSG with an under 4.5. So everyone's kind of leaning in the same direction. PSV Eindhoven take on Juventus. This is one of the better balanced games. PSV 5-4, +125. 27-10 the draw. Juventus 19-10, +190. To qualify, 2-1 PSV. And 9-25, -277 Juventus. Nicely poised this, 2-1 to Juventus. Last week, we went through all of PSV's both teams to score and overs. We then went through Juventus on the other side of it, and I sided with Juventus's form, and actually it was PSV's that won out over the 2. 7 out of their 9 Champions League games for PSV, both teams to score. 6 of those over 2.5 goals. So this time, I'm going to choose to side with PSV's numbers because we just seen the example of this last week. Both teams to score over 2.5. It's not a bad price, but 6-7 minus 116.
Yeah, I've gone completely the opposite. So a very short handicap. I felt drawn to the unders again. Did it incorrectly last week. I know that. But it was because of Juve's defensive record. It drew me in. Still only conceded 7 goals in the group stage across the 8 games. They only scored 9. Now, I just felt with Juve having something to hold on to. They've got the win coming into the second leg. I just felt like I wanted to back Juve to hang on, keep it tight. I think defensively they can do it, capable of doing it. Don't need a goal themselves necessarily. So I've gone for the unders. I like the unders at plus money. PSV v Juventus under 2.5 goals at 11-10.
In a bit of a weird card, this. We've either been completely on the same page or at absolute opposite ends of the spectrum. There's been no kind of half agreements, and I think we can both win if this happens. One thing or the other. The final game is, I would imagine, the game of the week. Real Madrid taking on Manchester City. Madrid 5-6, minus 120. 130 the draw, plus 333. Manchester City 5-2, plus 250. Little bit of money for Man City. They've just hardened over the last couple of hours. Madrid's slight drifters. To qualify, it is 4-25 Madrid, minus 625, with Man City at 4-1. Madrid lead 3-2 from that topsy-turvy game last week. Barry, Madrid, Manchester City.
Yeah, I think this one's got potential to be just as wild as the first leg. I think Madrid are a good price again at home. 17-20, I think was a reasonable price. But I just thought I'd rather be on the goals here and just enjoy whatever comes. City games have gone over 2.5 goals in 11 in a row. 10 of the 11 went over 3.5. We saw 3-2 last week, and 3 of the last 4 head-to-heads between these two sides have went over 3.5 as well. I kept it really easy. I'm looking forward to the game. I want to see lots of entertainment like we did last week, and I think we can bank on some goals. So I'll take Real v City over 3.5 goals at 4-5.
A lot of games on this card, Baz, I've just taken the better team. Atalanta, Benfica, Dortmund. And this is the case. Madrid at 5-6. I thought Madrid were clearly the better team last week, even though they left it late to win. They should have been a couple of goals ahead before Manchester City did get ahead. And they did leave it late, but they were clearly the better side. Manchester City have gone and won at 4-0 at the weekend. You look at the bare form, you think, all right, they might have clicked. I don't trust that form at all because Newcastle were flimsy. And you knew after 4 minutes Newcastle were going to get humped. So I can't put any stock in that form. None of those Man City problems are solved. Madrid scored 3 goals. We fancied that last week at a great price. Madrid to score 3 goals this week's far too short, Baz. It's 11-8, plus 137. So if they're going to score 3 goals, I don't know how they do that and not win. I put the safety net in case they only score twice. But just Madrid to win, they're better than them, clearly as well. I think they could cover a handicap. I think they could end up duffing them up 4-1 or something like that. But I'm just going to take Madrid to win at 5-6, minus 120, Baz.
I'll take Man City to qualify then, Malcolm, just to be the complete opposite to you.
4-1. And also, by the way, I think that's a terrible price. Man City at 4. First thing I looked at when I looked at those Q prices was, I'd want Man City at 8-1 before I touched them with your money.
I think Real is probably the smart play. I wouldn't rule out Man City doing anything. I just wanted to. I'd like it to be quite an entertaining game. I'd like City to make a fight of it, so we're gonna have a bit of a dramatic night, hopefully. But we'll see how it ends up.
Yeah, I hope it's quite good fun because, like I say, it's not the most exciting card. You've got two completely dead rubbers in there. A couple of them are quite nicely poised, but so far, on the back of that underwhelming match day 8, this new format hasn't really caught fire yet. Hasn't really sprung to life. Baz, that is 8 Champions League games and 1 Prem game in the book. Do you have anything you want to tell the people before we crack on?
No. Have you?
Fair enough. No,
I've got exciting stuff
all
coming up on the weekend, but we'll save that for Thursday night. We've got another episode. So
you are coming up for the weekend, yes. You don't be giving me the lurgy, by the way. If you've still got the lurgy, you'll not be going anywhere with me.
I'll be fit as a fiddle by the weekend. I'm at a gig on Friday, so I need to be back in tip-top condition by then.
Who are you going to see on Friday?
A band called The Ratings.
Oh, yes, you like them, don't you? Where's that? Down where you are or where I am?
No, that's up there. The whole
it?
clan's going. The 4 of us going to the City Hall.
Who's the 4 of you?
Sophie, Chloe, Helen.
Oh, right, that lot. Sorry, I just assumed you meant like your brothers, and I couldn't work out.
Our Carl's there with his son as well, so it is a bit of a family affair. But good gig on Friday night is the plan.
Yeah,
I'm out for another fancy meal Friday lunchtime as well.
You know, any tickets left for Friday? Are you aware?
It's sold out, but I can keep an eye out if you fancy one. There's been a few popping up on the. Let me know.
Bob's got a district match, but I can probably make it down for 8:30, 9 o'clock before the shenanigans start. Right, okay, well, we'll have this kind of conversation when we're not doing a live podcast, buddy.
I was going to say, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Probably save it for offline.
Oh, shit, right, okay. Enjoy the games, everybody, this week. Thanks for playing. We'll be back probably Thursday night with the Premier League action for the weekend. So, good luck. Appreciate it. Like, rate, review, thumbs up, write things down, all that shite. And we will see you all down the road. Cheers.